So hello everyone, I welcome you all to the Concept YouTube channel. Let's discuss today's topic. So today we will discuss topics of yesterday newspaper as well as today's newspaper. So there are many important topics that are published today. First is about the agri credit. The question can be framed under economy section. Next is about RBI regulation of non-banking financial companies. So we will try to understand what basically is non-banking financial companies. So again the question can be framed under economy section. Next is about the Iran policy. Under international relation, the question can be framed Palk Bay dispute between India and Sri Lanka. So that also we will try to understand. Education during pandemic, this is also very important. Question can be framed either in GS2 and GS3. Port development, this topic is also under economy section. There are few news, and in the end I will give you the mains question. So this session is presented by me. My name is Saurabh Pandey. You can join me on Unacademy. Current affair course is going to start from February. Every month you have this course on daily basis. The current affairs are covered. In addition to The Hindu, different other sources are also covered, so you can join it. This course is presented by me. In addition, there are many batch courses for 2022, 2023, NCRT related batch courses, so you can be a part of these courses as well. You have agriculture optional. This course is again presented by me. So today is the last day for iconic subscription. You have the great opportunity because from today onwards price is going to increase. So under this you have you can connect with your personal coach, main test series with your elevation, customize your study planner, everything is there. So for all these things, what you have to do, you have to take an Unacademy subscription plus or iconic. So you can take plus or iconic of GS and optional. So 1 year or 2 year subscription you are taking, you will be able to access all the courses including my courses and batch courses and courses of India's top educator. Use the code SPLive. If you're using the code SPLive, the amount will reduce by 10%. To download the PDF of this session, you can visit Telegram channel SP Current Affairs. To post your answer, you can post your mains answer in this Telegram channel, that is Daily Dose with S.Pandey. So let's start the first topic. First topic is again a very important topic. Here you have to understand about, you need to know about Romulus Crete. Common Crete is one of the highest venomous snake found in India. Common Crete. So it was believed that Romulus Crete is similar species to Common Crete. So after research being done, it has been established that Romulus Crete has certain different genetic makeup in comparison to Common Crete, and it is a kind of a different species. This crete is found in different areas, in part of Pakistan, in part of Rajasthan. So these small point you need to understand what basically is Romulus Crete. So Romulus is Romulus Whitaker. Romulus Whitaker. He is considered as Snake Man of India. Snake Man of India. So he has discovered this snake. Next is about the flash drought. This is also a very important aspect. We have heard about flash flood. There is this concept called as flash drought as well. Flash drought. What basically is flash drought? So what basically is flash drought? Flash drought is basically, when you talk about the flash drought is basically when the arid condition arises and soil moisture depletes. Soil moisture reduces or depletes. So very less amount of soil moisture is available The factor responsible for such condition related with flash drought, we can say there are many factors. The major factors are the climate change, all the factors related with climate change. These factors can be anthropogenic means human related factors, or atmospheric anomalies is also seen because of the climate change. Increase in greenhouse gas emission, increase in greenhouse gas emission. Now if you have this situation of flash drought like situation, it will result into some other aspect as well. For example, availability of moisture will reduce for crops. There will be less availability of moisture for crops. If there is a less availability of moisture for the crop, it will impact agricultural productivity as well. Agricultural productivity will also be impacted, somehow impacting the food security, and it will also impact the livelihood of the farmer as well. So all these points you need to understand. So you can quote the aspect of flash drought, flood. You must have heard about flash flood, but you can quote this aspect of flash drought and its impact on Indian agriculture and its impact in agriculture productivity. Next is about CoWIN. CoWIN is an app. Through this app, anyone who want vaccines, COVID-19 vaccine, he or she need to register in CoWIN app. He can use this app to get registered. So mainly the priority area citizens, for example healthcare workers or persons suffering from comorbidities or person above the age of 50, they can register through this app. It is said that because of certain technical glitches, because of these technical glitches, what is happening? There is low vaccine uptake. Either their number is not provided to them, or there are certain many other technical issues. Because of the technical issues, we have low vaccine uptake. So technological factor is also responsible for low vaccine intake. Next topic is education and pandemic, a very important topic, education and pandemic. So the question can be framed this year also. The question was framed about the role of technology, what role technology has played in improving management during pandemic. So you need to quote certain technologies and other aspect related with different sectors, for example healthcare sector or education sector or some other sector. These can be quoted. So on January 24, third edition of International Day of Education has been celebrated, and this day has been proclaimed by United Nations General Assembly to honor the role of education or the education which adds value to humanity and sustainable development. It means to highlight the role and importance of education. This day is celebrated. So this is again important from prelims perspective as well. The question can be framed, statement based question can be framed. This year the theme for 2021 is recover and revitalize education for COVID-19 generation, and the focus is to highlight the kind of impact pandemic has on students globally. What kind of impact pandemic has on students globally, and what solution can be brought up so that we can say the learning outcome for students can be improved. So this is the basic idea behind or the theme behind this year. About 1.6 billion students from some 190 countries were affected because of the pandemic and lockdown. because of the pandemic and lockdown, around 1.6 billion students have been affected. In India itself, more than 1.5 million school closed, which affected around 286 million school children. In addition to this, like before the crisis, this number was around 6 million girls and boys who were already out of school prior to the crisis. After the pandemic, this number has further increased by 1.5 million, 5 million school closure, which impacted around 286 million school children. According to UNESCO estimates, school worldwide were closed for 3 to 5 months, again impacting the learning outcome for students. The other point that has been highlighted is the government priority. Because of less revenue sources generated by the government government has prioritized these revenue sources mainly to different other sectors, for example health and other social sectors. So the spending related with the education has reduced. This is one point that we have to understand. So earlier the expenditure on education in normal circumstances was comparatively higher, as the revenue generated was much more, but because of the pandemic the revenue sources has reduced, and the limited amount of money which was diverted, or we can say the limited amount of money that was generated by the government mainly was diverted to different sectors like health and social safety. So UNESCO estimate that $11.8 trillion global COVID-19 fiscal response. It has been highlighted that around first we need to prioritize, the government needed to prioritize public health, social safety spending. Global education financing has reduced because the focus has been on public health and social safety. UNESCO also estimates that of $11.8 trillion global COVID-19 fiscal response, a mere 0.78% was allocated to education, which is again a very less amount, with $73 billion spent in high income countries. So out of $91 billion which was spent on education, out of which 73 billion has been spent by high income countries. So mainly in developing and least developed countries, the learning outcome has impacted because of low expenditure in education. On average, it is estimated that South Asia allocated only 0.85% of its fiscal package, compared to 0.373 for the Europe, North America, and 0.69% for Latin America and Caribbean. The governments across the world, they have also emphasized on use of information and technology. Because of the use of IT and different technologies, the focus was to improve learning outcome. Take the example of Odisha, because there is a poor digital penetration. So Odisha government has decided to use community radio to conduct classes, to delivering of lectures. Such technology has been used. It means information communication technology. In addition, radio, television and mobile technologies have been used so that the learning outcome can be improved. If you talk about India itself, India has also through the policy like National Education Policy, the use of technology, mainly digital technology, the use and the application of digital technology has been emphasized so that the learning outcome can be improved. There are factors, for example, there are factors like poor digital penetration. Due to poor digital penetration, due to poor digital literacy, digital inequality is there. So because of this digital divides, there are around 500 million students globally who are not able to access these technologies, which is somehow impacting the learning of students as well. UNESCO is about to release a global figure. Already certain figures have been released, which shows that over 800 million students, or more than half of the world student population, will face significant disruptions to their education. The only solution to avoid this disruption is the application of technology. By applying technology, maybe this or such kind of disruptions to their education can be avoided, and education can be delivered to the remote areas as well. Next is about the shipping sector is at sea. This topic is related with economy. This is also a very important topic. The arguments which are given in this article can be included under section infrastructure. So to understand the argument given, we need to see the map of India. So India has a huge coastline. There are many major ports. This is the coastal area. So suppose any of commodity is exported from other country to India, or India is importing some commodity or exporting some commodity, it is required that there should be a good port infrastructure. Should be less bureaucratic hurdle. Also, there should be proper connectivity between the port and other transport means, either inland waterways, or railway, or road, or some other means of transportation. The port connectivity with the hinterland is must. This is required to send any of the commodity to other part of the country, and to export or to bring other commodity from hinterland to the port for export purpose. For this purpose, what is required? We need to improve the port infrastructure. If you are not improving the port infrastructure, it will somehow impact, or it can impact export of the country as well. Certain agriculture commodity, for example, if you are exporting or importing, all these agriculture commodities are perishable item. So if for a particular period of time these commodities are there in the port, which is devoid of any kind of cold storage or other such facilities, it will result into wastage, or we can say damage of many of such commodities which are perishable. So what is required is, we need to improve port infrastructure. This is very much required, and under this consideration, certain steps like Sagar Mala program has been launched by the government, and the emphasis is to focus on port led development. Take the case of China. The focus of China through One Belt One Road initiative, or we can say Belt and Road initiative. Through such initiative, China is trying to connect with different economies. It is trying to connect with different economies, mainly developing or developed economies across the world. China wants to explore the market present in different part of the world. It is focusing not only in continental area, but its focus has also increased to maritime area as well. China has started to emphasize in Indian Ocean region, mainly Indian Ocean region. China wants to maintain its supremacy in Indian Ocean region. China wants to increase its influence and presence in Indian Ocean region. To counter China under such perspective, it is required that trade which is carried out through India's port that need to be enhanced, and for that ports infrastructure need to be improved. 7 of top 10 container port in the world are in China. This emphasizes the amount of trade done by China across world. So China has worked in different aspect, not only in port infrastructure, but also some certain areas like it also worked for skilled enhancement, skilled manpower which is required to maintain the port infrastructure and to run the merchant trade. Prior to 16th century, both India and China were equal competitors on GDP. India has also also emphasized on port development. Many new ports were established after independence. We have also focused or we have also worked for the establishment of ports in other countries as well, for example Chabahar port. But this approach, all these approach that we took, which we have taken, we need to add vision in it. Without adding vision, without adding objectives, we cannot achieve certain target, or we cannot counter China. So this is also one point that need to be understood. If you talk about EXIM trade, export import trade, because of export import trade, or we can say export and import trade is very important for any economy, including India. Take the case of India. If there is a poor port infrastructure, also if there is poor connectivity of port with the hinterland, what will happen? It may result in addition of cost. Any of the commodity which is entering port, it will stay in port for a particular period of time. After that, it will also take time for delivering that commodity to the hinterland, which may add logistic cost, and it may be we can say uncompetitive if we compare with the other companies or countries. So to avoid such logistic cost, we have to improve such infrastructure. In port sector itself, the kind of development that we have taken is mainly we focus to develop a similar kind of infrastructure in most of the port. What is required is we need to move towards a regional cargo specific infrastructure. For example, if you are developing a infrastructure in a particular port where the agriculture commodity can be stored, or from there the agriculture commodity can be either exported or can be delivered in the hinterland. So product specific infrastructure need to be established in different ports in the country. That should be the focus, and that should be the aim while we are focusing towards the port led development. There is this program called as Sagarmala, a government program. Its aim is to enhance the performance of country's logistics sector. It also aim for port led industrialization, development of world class logistic institutions, coastal community development. So Sagarmala program can add to our aim and ambition towards port led development. But for that also, in addition to maintaining the international standards, we should also focus towards what we call it as product specific infrastructure, or certain infrastructure which could address the need and demand or that arise because of the export and import of certain commodities. So such steps can be taken. For that, what we can do is we require a skilled manpower. We need a skilled manpower. Youth in coastal areas, they can be trained, they can be provided the skill, they can act as a manpower, which we can say which could add to the demographic dividend of the country as well, because without providing skill, the demographic dividend may turn into demographic disaster. So youth living along the coastal part of the country, they can be trained and they can participate in this process of what we call it as port led development. We also aim towards Make in India or Atmanirbhar Bharat. In Make in India, we want to increase the contribution of manufacturing sector, mainly the manufacturing sector in GDP to about 25%. Under Atmanirbhar Bharat, we want to become self-reliant, and these aims can be can be achieved only when we are providing skill to our youth, and youth living along the coastal areas, they can add to our aim towards improving, or they can be a human resource for maintaining port infrastructure or infrastructure related with merchandise trade. So such steps need to be taken. Next is about RBI regulation. This is also a very important topic under economy section. RBI regulation of non-banking financial companies. So what are NBFCs? This we need to understand. Non-banking financial companies, these are registered under Companies Act 1956. They are engaged in business of loans, advances, acquisition of share, stocks, bond. So their main aim is they provide loan, but they cannot accept demand deposit. It means, like in bank, if you are depositing certain amount, you can take that amount back whenever you want. This is the basic. We call such deposits as demand deposit. So there is no such option of demand deposits in non-banking financial companies. Also, check cannot be drawn from NBFC. So this is the basic difference between bank and non-banking financial companies. Recently, RBI has taken few steps in order to improve regulation and enhance monitoring of these non-banking financial companies. If you take a look on the balance sheet of these non-banking financial companies, the balance sheet highlights that the amount or the transaction done through these non-banking financial companies is increasing continuously. It has increased to 49.2 lakh crore in 2020. They are important part of India's financial system. So if you are not carrying out regulation, or the regulations are light, or we are not monitoring the kind of steps taken by these NBFCs as they are becoming an important part of our financial ecosystem, it may add a systemic risk in our economy. So again, it's very important that regulation is done, and as a result of which RBI has taken few steps to improve the monitoring and the regulation of these non-banking financial companies. Recently, this ILFS, it has also faced the crisis. It is also a NBFC player. So such a big players like such a big non-banking financial company players like ILFS. So if such players faces any kind of a crisis, it can result in it can inject distrust in the system, mainly the financial system, which can hamper the financial system of the country as a whole. RBI governor has also considered the importance of these non-banking financial companies and stated it as a public good. So if you are considering anything as a public good, we need to see that public good is used for the public interest. Any kind of negativity or any kind of overstated work or any kind of exploitation can be avoided, and it can only be done if a proper regulatory mechanism is followed. Next is about the Palk Bay dispute. This is also a very important topic. Palk Bay dispute, it can come under international relation. So recently 4 fishermen from Tamil Nadu, they died. So again this issue arise. So we need to understand this issue. This is an issue between India and Sri Lanka. Here you have international maritime boundary. This is Sri Lanka and this area is Tamil Nadu. Now fishermen from Tamil Nadu, through trawler, they come and they try to do fishing in Sri Lankan waters. Tamil Nadu fishermen, they have big trawlers, so mainly it is stated that they do unsustainable fishing, and as it is a livelihood issue, and fishermen of Tamil Nadu are well equipped, so it has been opposed by the Sri Lankan fishermen. They are saying that their fishes are being taken away by the Tamil Nadu fishermen, as a result of which the dispute arises. Both the countries are considering it as a issue related with the livelihood. It is said that Tamil Nadu fishermen, they have carried out fishing in an unsustainable manner, because of which the fishing potential in Indian water has reduced, and due to the presence of fishes like tuna and other fishes in Sri Lankan water, these trawlers are being sent by the bigger Tamil Nadu fishermen, and on many occasions these fishermen are captured or arrested by the Sri Lankan authorities, and sometimes they also attack. Even Sri Lankan authorities have attacked, which has resulted into loss of life of many of the fishermen. So as a result of which, although many steps have been taken, still the problem persists. It is important that both the country take certain steps so that trust can be built and a proper mechanism is established, so to avoid any such kind of incidents, means loss of life need to be avoided in either side, as it is a livelihood. So considering it as a livelihood, the steps need to be taken by both India and Sri Lanka. Next is about Agri Credit Small Farmer. You can download the PDF of this session from Telegram channel SP Current Affairs. In Agri Credit, Small Farmer are still outside the offense. This is also a very important topic under section economy. Agri Credit, it means the loan given by the financial institutions for the agricultural purpose. It is not reaching to the small and marginalized farmer. Mainly the agri credits are utilized by the bigger farmers or certain small companies which are working in the area of agriculture or food processing. So it is very important because 70 to 80% of farmers are small and marginals. So if we want to transform agriculture in the country, it is also required that agri credit need to reach to small and marginal farmers as well. But it is said that though agri credit is increasing, but its impact is not that visible. In last 10 years, it is said that agri credit increased by 500%, but it has not reached even 20% of 12.56 crore. The question arises that where such agriculture credit, if agriculture credit is increasing with such a high rate, why it is not reaching to small and marginal farmers? So that need to be improved because of lacking or because of low availability of institutional credit. These small farmers are mainly dependent on many of non-banking financial companies as well, which charges very high interest rate. Even to buy a tractor or any equipment, they need to take money from these financial companies, which may charge higher. So that is the reason RBI has started to increase its control on non-banking financial companies. Larger part of agriculture credit is reaching to the bigger farmers. 79%, for example, 79% the beneficiaries are farmers who hold lands more than 2 hectares. In India, around 12.56 crore we have these small and marginal farmers. Although RBI has taken certain steps, like it has stated that it has stated under priority sector lending 18% must go to the agriculture sector. Within this, 8% must go to small and marginal farmers. Now these provisions need to be strictly implemented. Subsidized credit is needed because large part of we can say large number of farmers are small and marginal. So if the benefit of subsidized credit is not reaching to these farmers, then we cannot expect the agriculture diversification or agriculture growth in general. And also the contribution of agriculture in GDP may reduce. So it need to be ensured that each provisions either by the RBI, the certain guidelines by the RBI, or other steps taken by the government for providing subsidized credit need to be properly implemented. For example, certain steps have been highlighted. The farmers, small and marginal farmers, need to be empowered. They can form farmer producer organizations, and these small farmers, if they are empowered or through FPO, they can be ensured or provided subsidized agri credit. Mobile phone penetration is very high, even in rural India, around 89.1%. So mobile technology can also be used. It can be connected by using certain app through satellite imagery. The banks can know about the land holdings of a farmers, and based on that, institutional credit or a subsidized credit can be provided to the farmer. So technology is one area which can be used to ensure and provide subsidized credit to the farmers. Next is on Iran. It is decision time for the Biden. Again, very important point that we have to understand, that discussing on certain speculation that need to be avoided. If certain concrete steps are taken by the US president, so it will come, then we will discuss. But few points that we have to understand in the context of Iran, this is also important from international relation perspective. Joe Biden, he was vice president when Barack Obama was a president. In 2015, there was one agreement, P5+1, and between Iran and P5+1, United Nations Security Council, 5 permanent members, and one is Germany and Iran. The purpose of this agreement, which we call it as JCPO, Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, is to make nuclear program of Iran more transparent. Now there is change in the dynamics in the West Asia. Turkey and Iran turning it to be a different factions. If they move out of the influence of USA, it will provide opportunity to Russia and China to form a coalition with these countries. There is one other faction under Saudi Arabia. USA need to maintain a balance with Saudi Arabia and Iran. Turkey is also a NATO member. NATO was formed in the year 1949. So the kind of changing dynamics which is taking place in West Asia, it is expected that certain steps will be taken by Joe Biden, so that Iran and USA relation can be improved. Chinese using Indian road for trespasses in Ladakh region. They are using it. Many reports are highlighted, and these reports highlight this point, that Chinese are using roads built by Indian authority for trespassing. Let's see the question. Without improving port infrastructure, port-led development cannot take place. You can send your answer to Telegram channel, Daily Dose with S. Pandey. I request each of you do subscribe the channel, like the session and share the session. And don't forget to watch the 5 AM session as well. To join Unacademy, you can use the code SP